So we're now going to get some questions from our viewers. So let's hear the first one. From Tom. Rumours have been intensifying of Real Madrid's interest in William Saliba. How big of a worry is that if we lose him in the summer?
Of course it's a worry.
Everybody totted at the same time and was like, oh no.
Look, Real Madrid is the one club where, you know, no player is safe. When Real Madrid come knocking, then every player on the planet, all of our players would be interested. That's just a fact. So yeah, of course it's slightly worrying. He's so integral. I think they are the best partnership in the Premier League, maybe the best partnership in European football at the moment, which effectively means the world, in Gabriel and William Saliba. So we don't want to break it up, do we? But sooner or later, one of them will move on. We just hope it's a little bit further down the line.
Later.
Exactly. But it does put a little bit of pressure maybe on the team to win a trophy this season. I think if we win the league, or even the Champions League, then I think that's the message to Saliba to say, actually, you can fulfil all your dreams here.
Yeah.
There's no need to go.
I think as long as they keep ticking along nicely, the team keeps progressing, they keep challenging, but as Adrian said, he's 100% spot on. You want to win trophies. And I think as long as Arsenal keep ticking off trophies, hopefully the Premier League, Champions League, then I think they will stay. But you're right. I mean, Real Madrid, it's very rare they go after a player, like properly go after a player and don't get them. Usually they do their homework maybe a couple of years in advance. So it is a concern. It has to be. Saka's another one you worry about. But I think as long as Arsenal keep progressing, keep winning trophies, then they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's important for the club to keep showing ambition in the transfer market. So to support these guys' careers. Because they don't want to be like 30-year-old players with no medals behind them. I think this team would be a crying shame if they don't win something serious. And I think it's important when we have those opportunities to buy that forward we're talking about. We're going to have to reconstruct midfield slightly next year, next summer. We have to do it well and do it properly. And when players see that, they're going to say, OK, we're on the right direction. I don't think at this present moment in time we can say the club have made mistakes that make him think, I have to go. Whereas in the past that may have been the case. But now I think you couldn't say the club haven't created the right environment and atmosphere for young players to progress and thrive. So it's up to us to keep that going, to make sure he's thinking, well, why am I going to go there? Because we've got as good of players here. I think that's the key thing. That's all we can do, right? So that's all we can do.
So, Clive, the next question for you then. How bored is everyone of Bukayo Saka being compared to Cole Palmer and Phil Foden?
Yeah, I've got strong views on this. Well, I think, for one, I think they're all different players. I think one's happy on the outside, on the exterior in Saka, and he's a true wide man that can play inside. And then we have 2 10s that can play outside. But when they play outside, they show significant weaknesses going backwards, and that's a problem. And so for me, Saka's a more rounded player. But again, back to what we're talking about. You need to win things in this argument. Phil Foden has got, 4 or 5 Premier Leagues, Champions League. He's got a real strong medal cabinet. And so you can't win that discussion. So we have to make sure we win, you know. The England captain at the moment hasn't really won anything. And he should have won something by now with better career moves, for example. But you don't look back at your career when you're a little bit older and say, I've not done it. So it's very important that we win. But for me, Cole Palmer's a true 10. He's probably closer to Odegaard in profile. And Phil Foden is more Kevin De Bruyne, 8-10, but who can play wide, whereas Saka is a true wide man, 1-on-1, 1-on-2, 1-on-3, creator, scorer. You know, but he starts from wide, so I think they're different players.
It's very much the here and now as well, isn't it? And that's the problem, I think, at times in this country, is that Saka's been at such a level for so long that Palmer had that great year last year, started this season well. He must be better than Saka. But people almost forget that, hold on, Saka's been at this level for, 3 years now. Yeah. So Cole Palmer, like last year was his first proper kind of breakout season. And yes, Phil Foden, really, really talented, 1 PFA Player of the Year last year. Brilliant. But again, naturally, with the width, I think he's more of a number 10 as well. But again, because Saka, his levels have been there again for so long, people almost take that for granted that, well, Saka's only 8 out of 10. Palmer's better. And I think that sounds like you're laughing because that's what the conversation is. 8 out of 10 is not seen as good enough anymore because Palmer last year maybe was a 9.
Yeah. So then finally, our last question from Ben. Kai Havertz is missing from the Germany squad due to an injury. All reports seem to suggest that he'll be fine for the Bournemouth game. thankfully. Do Arsenal need to be better at pulling players out of the international squads when they aren't fully fit? Because Pep always seems to manage it.
Well, we weren't in the previous window. I was actually staggered that Martin Ødegaard went away with Norway because he took a real whack in the game. Was it the Brighton game, wasn't it? Yeah, he took a real whack and he come away limping really from that game. I thought, what an opportunity is to pull him out. But the issue is, the players have a voice too. They have a say. And you only get one career as a player. He's represented his country. You don't get that many opportunities to rack up the caps, to have these experiences. And if you're captain of your country, you don't want to miss the games. So the players have a say too here. So I think it's important that we all recognise that. But I think what Arsenal can do is maybe be a little bit more persuasive to some of the individuals if they're carrying knocks. Yeah. But I think in general, I think you run the risk of upsetting your own players by pulling them out of squads. Yeah. And that's the reason why I think you should let the players make the call ultimately. So yeah, because it's important to play for your country, right? You've done it.
Yeah, it's a hard one because I love playing for the country. If a manager came to me and said you're not going, I wouldn't like that.
No,
I wouldn't like that. But I get it. If you are carrying some sort of knock, and listen, I've never been at a club that's like Arsenal where they're at that level, competing for every major honour there is. So I think sometimes as well, as players, you've got to be not as naive. I understand the scenario that I'm in. Like someone like an Ødegaard, how important he is to Arsenal, how important he is to Norway. But if you are carrying a little knock, you'd be like, you know what? Do I need this one game? Can I just give this one a miss and then come back for the next ones? Because, as you said, that I was shocked as well as you guys were that he reported for international duty, having taken that huge knock against Brighton.
Just quickly then on that, as a player, if you want to be picked for international duty, but you've taken a knock. How is that in your mind? How is that? You want to go. Your manager probably doesn't want you to go, but how do you find that? Well,
in that scenario there for Ødegaard, he's so crucial to Norway. So it's not a case of I always felt when I was in England squads that if I missed a squad, my form for my club side's got to be incredible, or I'm not going to be in the next one. Ødegaard hasn't got that luxury. So he's got that luxury. So he could be like, well, I'm carrying a slight knock. He's definitely going to be in the next one. There's no doubts about that. He's going to be in the next one. So he can be a little bit, not selective, but a little bit like, Gaffer, listen, to the international manager, I'm carrying a slight knock, so do you mind if I miss this squad? And then I'll be 100% for the next one, and he comes back fit. So I think he's in a position of strength.
Modern players are forever moaning about playing too much football.
Yeah, exactly.
We've even heard the threat of going on a strike. It was Rodri, wasn't it, that brought that out. So look, maybe the modern player is more likely to actually say, you know what, I could skip this one. I think they'd be right to do it. But I absolutely don't think Arsenal should be telling players to fake an injury or to pull out of squads when they're not right, because that is a recipe for disaster. It will come back to bite them.